let us begin the presentation itself. And welcome to Secrets to Rapidly Growing Your Astrology Business Using 7 Proven Marketing Techniques. Um, it's a copyrighted presentation, but let me begin quickly and just tell you a little bit about who am I. I'm a senior marketing executive with lots of background working for companies like Gillette, Nabisco, Smith Barney, Citigroup, H&R Block, and an entrepreneur as well. And I've been practicing astrology for 35 years. I write a regular astrology column for the Huffington Post, which I enjoy. And my real joy in life is teaching and helping others. And it doesn't get any better than working with my astrology colleagues. Uh, so it's a special privilege to present the program to you because I would love to take a part in helping you become more successful than you already are. Um, I'd like to begin by talking to you about the webinar objectives because I think it's important that we're very clear on why we're here and what we hope to gain from today. Um, I wanted this webinar to make a powerful impact in your everyday life, but especially as an astrologer by giving you these marketing tools. If you're already using them, my goal is to help you use them better. Personally, I'd like to see you get at least one idea to use to build your business that will pay for this webinar and the time you've taken to attend it. I mean, first of all, it's important to develop a prosperity mindset. Let's face it, it's taken many years for you to develop the talent that you developed as an astrologer. You should be paid for your expertise, just like doctors, lawyers, and accountants are paid. Of course, you need a business plan to be able to get to where you want to go. And of course, to get there, you need to have the skills. Many people don't know what it is they don't know. So, congratulations for being open to discovering new options and ideas. And my goal is for you to become a more marketing oriented astrologer than you already are. And of course, uh, being able to use all this, you can build your plan um, build your business according to your plan. Now, today we'll present a smorgasbord of ideas, and as you can imagine, having astrologers from all over the world with varying degrees of talent and expertise and marketing savvy, it's a challenge to come up with a webinar that everybody's going to um, really find value in. Um, so it's like herding cats, right? I mean, so um, some of you are going to go like, "Well, I never heard this before," and others are going to say, "Well, geez, I know a lot of this." So my goal is to again give you lots of ideas to stimulate you as well as techniques like a smorgasbord. Want to create a delicious table of foods and hope that you'll find something at that table in the sales or marketing area that will really be helpful to you. Um, the key is for this to be a thought-provoking webinar that stimulates your mind and gets your creative juices flowing to the many marketing options you have to build your business. Now, I've had lots of experience and a number of failures and fortunately many successes. So I'm delighted to share both with you. But please know that if I tell you I don't think a technique or an idea is a good one to use, and you are using it and getting good results, then by all means continue to use it. I'm not here to invalidate your experiences or to tell you that I'm right and you're wrong. I've seen many instances where a technique that doesn't work for one person works extremely well for others, which is always humbling. So keep that in mind throughout the seminar, the webinar, and the discussion we have. Let's begin with your mindset. What is your mindset about how to grow your astrology business? Do you think of your astrology practice, the books you write, the classes you teach as a business? Um, uh, do you uh, you think of yourself as just a regular astrologer who's going to do a great job and people are going to come to you because word will spread throughout the land? I mean, this is the old mindset of I don't like marketing, I'm not really good at it, and if I do a good job, people come to me. There's a new mindset I want to make sure that you really have. And if you do, great. And if you don't, I want to encourage you to cultivate it. Because after all, how many astrologers do you know? who have full-time businesses? I mean, how many are financially prosperous? And by prosperous, I mean full-time, making 60,000, 80,000, or $100,000 a year or more. Now, if money turns you off, then make it and give it away and be an astrologer and a philanthropist. I like that old famous torchlight singer of 1920, Sophie Tucker. She used to say, I've been rich and I've been poor, and rich is better. So, part of that prosperity mindset is to realize that it's absolutely great and fine that we, as astrologers, are paid well for our craft. If you have this mindset, and you are an aggressive marketer, I mean, what's the reward? I say the reward is that you will do more of what you love and make a prosperous living at it. And I believe you can have the ability to make $50,000 to $100,000 a year in your astrology business within 5 years or sooner. Now, let's get into the business itself, your business. It's comprised of two important elements. And let's talk about the first one, which is your client mix. Now, you can see that your client mix is comprised of new clients, repeating clients, and referred clients. Most astrologers make efforts to get new clients, but don't put enough emphasis on marketing efforts to encourage repeat clients and obtain referrals. So, really the secret to building your business is looking at your client base in a new way. The old way is that you have three parts to your business. You have new clients, you have repeat clients, and referrals. The new way is to recognize that those three parts are synergistically tied together. Now, when you market to them as three parts that are interrelated, you produce a whole that is greater than the sum of those parts. And of course, that's the definition of synergy. So it's a shift in your mindset. Now, the power of synergy to rapidly grow your business is pretty clear. In fact, let me tell you a quick story. I consulted with one astrologer who thought that marketing was a bit unseemly and even a little unprofessional. And she finally realized that she needed some help to build her practice. She had a very low repeat rate among clients, even though they gave her excellent feedback from her consultations. It turned out that she did no follow up with these clients. She left it up to them to recontact her. She had all these notions that she might be pressuring them or, as I said, unprofessional. And that was a huge mistake, since the secret to the exponential growth of your astrology business is not just based on securing new clients. You must focus on increasing the percent of clients who are repeating clients and the number of referrals they generate. Otherwise, you're leaving money on the table and you're working three times harder. So we're going to come back a little bit in a little bit to the techniques you can use to increase repeat and referrals that you get. Um, and we'll discuss the marketing techniques you can use to harvest more business out of your client mix. The second component of your business is the services and products menu that you offer the clients and the public. Here is one example of an astrologer who's offering obviously this assortment here of readings and ebooks and webinars and classes. So the first question I need to ask all of you is, should you be expanding your services and products? And what is your specialty? And what do your clients want? And let's talk about the services that you offer. Do you have a specialty? And if so, are you taking full advantage of it? In other words, if you have 4 or 5 astrology services, but 80% of your clients use 1 or 2 of them, is it time to specialize? Is it time to focus on what your clients really want from you and what the market values from you about your talents as an astrologer? I mean, here's a quick story that illustrates this particular slide. One astrologer spent several years offering her clients natal readings, transit readings, horary, solar charts, chart comparisons, astrocartography, all of that. She was out promoting herself and letting everyone know about the many astrology services she could offer. And she started getting discouraged because people seemed to be only interested in her natal chart interpretations. She became a marketing client of mine, and after talking with her about her business, it was clear she was ignoring the reality. The reason why people came to her was because she gave brilliant and powerful natal interpretation readings. That was her specialty. So once she changed her mindset from no one is interested in my other astrological services to everyone loves my natal interpretations, she redirected her marketing efforts and sales pitch and focused on selling herself as an astrologer with a specialty of natal interpretation. That year, she increased her astrology business by 30%. 25% of the increase came from her total focus on bringing in clients, specifically for her natal readings. So ride the horse in the direction it's going. Don't try to be a Jack or Jill of all trades. You may be better off specializing. Another part of looking at our business is analyzing uh, our performance statistically. And I'll just give you a couple examples of what I do for myself that I ask you, are you doing? And that is, do you understand your business and what's happening to it? I mean, here's a new clients. This particular astrologer was able to get 27% more clients from 2013, 2014. What about referrals that are being generated? How are you doing there? So these are the kinds of things that you really need to make sure you're focused on to be able to really analyze your business. Because once you analyze your client mix and your services and products menu, you can plan your goals for 2015 and create a 1-year plan and a 5-year business plan. For this webinar, we're going to really create a 5-year business plan. And I'm not going to spend a lot of time with these slides because you can look at them yourself, but I want to give you just a sense. You can see here this particular full-time plan that this astrologer put together was for 300 consultations, getting 180 per reading, and producing those revenues, coming up with books that could equal this amount of sales, and offering classes 4 times a year, and that produce a revenue income for her of 63,000. Now, it can take you years to reach this goal, but this is the kind of plan that you want to lay out there. So now, let's take a look at a couple other plans. Uh, Whether you're a part-time astrologer wanting to become a full-time one or a full-time astrologer wanting to build your business to the next level, I want to talk to you about the difference between 3 different astrological approaches. So we're going to create a 5-year plan. But I want you to see the difference between how marketing varies. When someone is modest in their marketing, aggressive, or just doesn't do any. So I've got 3 astrologers. I'm going to call them the 3 amigos because they like each other, they know each other, they see each other at conferences, but they just have different marketing mindsets. And I want to take a look at the results that they produce. So you've got astrologer A, the passive marketer, B, the modest marketer, and C, the aggressive marketer. Now, astrologer A, you know this person, okay? Do you remember the old country doctor? He hung up his shingle, and over many years, patients came to him. He was somewhat busy. He never cared much about making money, and he never did. In a similar way, this astrologer doesn't like marketing. He or she believes he can build his business the old fashioned way based on reputation and word of mouth. Except we operate in a different 21st century world where that approach doesn't work, especially if you're an astrologer trying to compete with other astrologers in a major metro market. So let's take a look at astrologer B, who you may know. And she stays in contact with a small group of her clients that just love her. She tells friends, maybe passing out cards, going to some networking events about her astrology practice. Maybe she spends time on Facebook. Maybe she even runs an ad on Yelp. But technology makes her a little uncomfortable. It's a bit intimidating. And offering new services and too many new products seems a bit overwhelming because she doesn't really know how to do it. She'd like to find someone to help her, but that costs money for high-priced consultants, and she doesn't even know where to even begin to look and find those type of individuals. So let's take a look at astrologer C, and maybe you know this person, maybe you are that person. She's called an aggressive marketer because she's willing to try all 7 marketing techniques we'll discuss today, and she'll use the ones that work best for her. She has the consciousness to know that in the 21st century, you need to be both talented at the craft of astrology and a good marketer of her services and products. She surveys her competition and takes an assessment of what products and services could bring her business. And she's interested really in trying these different marketing techniques to see which ones work for her. So, in creating our 5-year plan, I want to make certain assumptions. Um, and I urge you not to get too hung up on whether an assumption is an exact fit for your business or the market you operate in. I mean, for example, there are astrologers who will do a reading for $95 or less, and there are astrologers who will insist on at least $250 for a thorough analysis and reading. For this webinar, feel free to adjust the numbers to your own circumstances and the market you operate in and your own personal goals. To create our model, and for simplicity's sake, let's assume that each astrologer, these 3 different astrologers, are starting out their practice at the same time. And through networking and word of mouth and reputation, they're each able to attract 100 clients during a year or 2 of hanging out their shingle to the public. So they start thinking, maybe I could be a full-time astrologer, build an astrology practice, or even a great part-time business. So let's assume that first year of their deciding to become a part-time or a full-time astrologer, they're able to get 100 clients to do readings. And so let's assume they charge $180. So you can see that, and by the way, some of these 100 clients can be repeating clients. Maybe a client came and did a natal reading and then decided they want to come back for a transit progression reading. But the point is, all 3 of these astrologers had 100 clients. They charged $180. You can see the first year income was $18,000. Now, astrologer A, and I want you to see the math at the bottom. And as I say, when you go through these slides, again, I want you to understand what you're looking at. So you see Y1, which is year 1, each astrologer had 100 clients. Year 2, because astrologer A is passive and didn't do much marketing, he only got 30 clients. So that's 130. And 25% of those clients repeated. That's 33 clients. And of the referrals that were generated, only 10% of the 130 clients referred clients. So this particular astrologer had 76 readings times $180. He made $13,680. Astrologer B did some modest marketing and was a little more effective. In second year, she got 50 additional clients. So she had 150 base of clients and was able to get a higher level of repeats because of her marketing effort, which was 45 clients. And then her referral rate was even higher because of her aggressiveness, her ability to do some marketing. So she had 118 readings times $180. She made $21,240. So actually a little more in her second year than her first year. Astrologer C, because she is very aggressive in using these techniques, was able to get 100 clients in each of the first 2 years, which is 200 clients total. 40% of those clients repeated because of her marketing efforts, which is 80. And then you can see the referral rates were even higher. She got 25%, which was 50 clients out of her 200 gave referrals. So 230 readings times 180, she made $41,400. So let's take a quick look at, these are the 3 earnings that they made. Let's take a look at the results. Astrologer C made almost 100% more than astrologer B. Astrologer C made almost 200% more than astrologer A. So what's the conclusion? Well, I think it's kind of obvious. The difference in financial success had little to do with who was the best astrologer and everything to do with who was the best marketer. So let's assume that you want to continue to aggressively market your business at least in the first 5 years. what kind of earnings can you expect? And let's take a look at what you might accomplish in year 3 as an aggressive marketer. And I'm going to assume that you're so busy that the number of new clients remains at 100. And I'm going to assume that your repeat client level remains at about 40% and your referrals remain at 25%. Okay. So in year 3, and again, I'm going to go through this very quickly. You can check this out on your own. You can see year 3, this astrologer decided by then, look, maybe I need to do some speaking, maybe I need to do some classes or webinars, maybe I need to write an ebook. She was able to generate 295 readings a year, and with the other income, a total of 60,000. Okay, and you can see the Y1, Y2. You can see 100 each year. And year 5, this aggressive astrologer was able to generate literally an income by doing the same thing of $100,000. So you can see yourself that there's a tremendous benefit to you to focus on using techniques and becoming much more aggressive. Now, in terms of how do you get there, so what are the resources you need to achieve your business plan? Um, the basic ones are obvious. You know, the website, a blog newsletter, going to Kinko's, getting business cards if you don't have them, getting exposure publicly, whether it's Facebook page, or a public page, Twitter, LinkedIn, making networking connections. You know, some cash is good. You know, if you had $500 or $1,000, $2,000, that would be great. But the big thing you really need is a time commitment. And putting so much effort out each week to be able to really build your business. So I want to talk to you a little bit about some of the great resources to use, because I know that with so many choices out there for all of us, it becomes difficult to figure out, well, you know, who can I really go to that I can trust? So I want to give you some quick referrals for you, and you can look at their contact information when you look at the recording link. And let me assure you, I'm not being paid by any of them to say nice things. I just have had excellent experiences with them. If you want a great web designer type individual to work with, Paul has done my website. She specializes in working with professionals who are in everything from spiritual practices to astrology, and I would encourage you to consider giving her a call and letting her talk to you about your current site. I use Constant Contact of my email provider. You know, all of us as astrologers need to take our level of information up to higher levels so that we can be more learned, more scholarly, and some of us need to actually learn new astrology services. Stephen Forrest is a great guy, as many of you know, and I just wanted to list he's written some fantastic books that are really, I think, the kind that any astrologer who's an astrologer has on their bookshelf. And I just listed his contact information and his book website so you can take a look and see what there that would make sense for your library. I found a really great source over the folks at Evolutionary Astrology, Leroy and Kim Marie. They've done a great job coming up with webinars that really deal with the latest in what's going on in astrology. And again, a great way for you to learn more about what you can do to understand how you can be a more impactful astrologer. Software is obviously very important. So I've got Kepler here. Faye and David Cochran are great people. They've got the Cosmic Patterns, Matrix, Kepler software you might want to consider. I personally use Time Cycles. Dennis Haskell and Joe Jablonski, great people over there, excellent customer service, especially if you have a Mac and you want to have cutting edge software. So, but there's no substitute for time and commitment. I want to make that point to you. In our profession, there are no overnight successes. There are very few astrologers who have the panache, celebrity, or recognition factor to get people to just sign up through word of mouth from their website. Most who do spend years of marketing efforts to build their reputation and brand. But before we begin, I want to tell you that the marketing techniques we're going to discuss may be a secret to some, yet known to others. But really, what really counts is what you do with the information we're going to discuss. And I want to make sure that we're very clear that there's a huge difference between intellectual knowing versus knowing how to use expertly. Because you may know a technique intellectually, but do you know how to use the technique to consistently produce results? Are you so good at using it that you're an expert? In fact, I have to tell you a quick story about a critic I met into at a seminar I went to some time ago. I sat next to this individual. He seemed rather critical about the presentation. He whispered to me, "Oh, I know that. Oh, I know that." And after the presentation ended, he turned to me and said, I already knew most of the marketing techniques that the seminar leader discussed. I asked him, well, if you already knew most of the techniques and you're using them very successfully, then why are you here? He sheepishly responded, well, I guess my problem is that I don't know how to use them effectively. So I want to share this story with you so you don't fall into the trap of thinking that it's the idea or the technique that you're going to hear today that's going to bring you lots of clients or sell lots of your books or classes and make you lots of money as an astrologer. It's you and your ability to successfully implement the techniques we're going to discuss that will make your astrology business grow and prosper. Remember the old adage, knowledge is not power, it's the use of knowledge that makes you powerful. And I wrote down, and successful. In fact, I really like this particular uh, quote from Mary Kay Ash, who is the founder of a multi-million dollar cosmetics business, Mary Kay Cosmetics. She said, ideas are a dime a dozen, people who implement them are priceless. So with that in mind, let's begin. Um, the 7 techniques that you want to use to build and promote your business. Now, the first one is to set up an email contact program with your client base and those who might be interested in your services. Now, I realize many of you already have set up an email marketing program. Others of you will need to set up one, but let's go over how it should be set up briefly. Obviously, you want to choose a full service email marketing service. I use Constant Contact. There are certainly other good ones. I got my design template there and modified it. Instead of paying a lot of money for consultants to teach me, they had plenty of staff to hold my hand and show me how to launch my newsletters, and also to be able to track response and get tips for higher response and how to analyze and get performance results. So let's talk about specifically how do you create an email marketing program for yourself that will increase readings, increase repeat business, and increase referrals. So you're all set. You got your names downloaded. You're ready to establish this promotional campaign to increase your client business. Okay. The secret to an effective email marketing campaign is creating promotional events that are the basis for contacting your clients and prospects. And you'll need to create a letter to use for each event you need to make contact. And this will save you lots of time composing new emails each time. So to do what I'm going to tell you, plan on creating a Word document file of letters that you're going to use for these special occasions. Make sure to customize each letter to the client's name. You should type their name to the pre-written email you'll be sending out so they feel it's personal from you. Personalizing your email takes time, but I've tested mailing to my list by sending out emails generically versus custom, and I found that you'll get 4 times better response rates by personalizing it. I mean, everyone is savvy enough to know when you've just sent out a bulk email list to the whole world. I mean, even if your email plugs in someone's first name, your email often gets deleted or just unread. So I advocate practicing personalized marketing, not mass marketing. So if you're so successful, you got thousands of emails that go out every day, then hire some administrative help. But place the dates that you'll be contacting your clients and prospects in your daytime calendar or whatever you use, I use a day timer, and that way I'll always know when somebody's special event is that I want to remind them of. Here are 4 promotions that I do annually with my clients, and you can use them or come up with your own. The first one is birthdays. I offer a discount to my clients when they have their birthday. Um, I let them know that I'd like to give them a gift of $25 off, and to create urgency, I give them 10 days to book and pay for their reading, and it's been very, very effective. Um, People are usually in a good mood to treat themselves well, and I let them know that I'm giving them a birthday gift, and that's what it is. The second promotion I do is a New Year's promotion, and I want people to know, hey, it's a new year. Do you want to know what's going on in your life? Sometimes I'll actually look at their charts to mention something personal about their natal chart or their major transit passes that they should be aware of. And for example, one client of mine who is single and very worried about meeting somebody for a great relationship. I saw that transiting Pluto would be conjuncting her natal Venus ruling her 7th house. So, I thought, hey, I should talk to her about, hey, this could be a great year for you to finally, bring a transformative love relationship into your life. Sometimes I'll remind somebody, that it's been a year since their last reading. The third way that I use email marketing is to promote new services and products. I sent out a notice of my book, What the Hell is Going On in My Life. Uh, it's a book about transits, and I, offered a special discount to promote it. A fourth promotion that I do is a referral promotion. Now, there are always clients, as you know, who'll refer friends to you because, they have a generous heart and they like you. But to really motivate clients to give us lots of referrals, we need to be creative. We need to give them an incentive to spend their precious time referring clients to us. Now, unfortunately, there are only a very small group of clients who will leave your reading breathless and in a state of ecstasy and make it their life's work to call up their 5 best friends and 10 relatives to say, I had a reading with the most amazing astrologer on the planet. You have to call her up immediately and pay her $200 so she can tell you why your life sucks and when you'll finally meet your rich, handsome prince. I mean, the reality is we live in times where people don't have time or interest to do anything for free. Every day I have someone who wants me to fill out a survey or help them improve their business in some way. And many of your clients are thinking, hey, show me the money. So I give my clients a cash incentive for referrals they bring to me. I give them $50 off their next reading for a paid referral. It's my investment because of what we discussed about synergy and one client leading to repeat business opportunities and possibly to 1 or 2 or 3 potential referrals. Now, I want to add success tips for each of these techniques. Ask yourself when you do a mailing, does it really benefit the client? I mean, how would you feel if you received this email? Less is more. I have found personally that it's best not to do email promotion contacts more than 3 to 4 times a year. And I need to give you a cautionary tip here. Don't overuse your mailing list. The value of your list is based on the quality, not the quantity of names you've assembled. Don't buy into this hype about how important your mailing list is to the point where you overmail to it. Remember, the people who signed up to your list are not long lost relatives who will inherit millions when you die. They're not waiting to hear from you and hanging on to your every word. I mean, recognize these people who are on your list for what they are. They signed up for an article. They signed up for a free blog. Maybe they came to you for a service. So therefore, just keep a realistic perspective about the value of your list. So you don't get tempted to overuse it. You can really kill your list by over mailing to it, and you end up getting deleted, unsubscribed, or called a spammer. Now, I run my mailing list like a high performance engine. Before we discuss the next marketing technique, which is the use of your newsletter, your blog newsletter, we need to talk about the best way to build a powerful high response mailing list. How you build your list is more important than how many names are on your list. Response rates for direct mail have gone way down, and response rates for emails are even far, far lower. Today, depending on the quality of your list or the list you're buying, you can send an email to someone offering them your book or a reading opportunity or a class or a webinar and get one person per 1,000 to make a purchase, which is 1/10 of 1%. And by the way, that might be a fantastic result for your particular offer. So it's very difficult to get people you really are sure should be interested. And let's take a look at why that is. Um, Here's some current research from Palo Alto, California, by a high-tech research firm called the Raticity Group. Okay, they track emails received by business and professional people, and you can see the obvious, which is that emails received just continue to go up. They say that their projection is 84 emails per person, and actually, if you add the emails that are responded to, not just received, it's 125 emails a day. So this will help you understand why it's really difficult to get people to respond even to a fantastic offer. So if you get some sort of psychological satisfaction out of mailing thousands of emails out to people, but your open rates are 15 to 18%, you'll be wasting lots of time and money maintaining a list and having subscribers delete your email or report you from spamming. And worse, you'll have no clients, and no revenues for your offer. In fact, let me give you a personal example regarding this webinar. One of the targeted lists that I use that goes to only astrologers had 10,000 names on it. And when I checked how well it performed, I want to give you kind of an anatomy of a poor performing email list. When I checked how well that list did, 10,000 names, only 20% of the people opened it. And then the click-through rate, in other words, people who actually opened the link, was 240. And of that, I only got 2 enrollments. So that was pretty poor. So I want to give you a real live world sense of what you're up against when you do promotions like this or different programs. So let's talk about an important way to change the response rate that you want. Most people start out trying to build their list, by adding the names of people they think might be interested. A slower but much better way to build a strong mailing list is practicing consent marketing, which is what most email marketing companies will ask you to do anyway to avoid spam complaints. A good friend of mine who died last year, Jay Levinson, you may be familiar with, he wrote a very successful book series called Guerrilla Marketing. He preached one secret to successful marketing, which was to practice consent marketing. And that's where you sign up, where you ask those who sign up for your service or product to consent to receive your email before you send it, instead of doing what most people do, which is just add names. In this way, you build up a loyal list of interested individuals who are likely to buy your service and refer others to it. I began practicing consent marketing years ago, and through regularly culling and removing people from my blog letter, I was able to take my open rates from 18% to 58%. I sold more books, reports, and consultations. So it's better for you to have 100 people on your list who consent to receiving your newsletter and open it at high open rates and click your link to see your offer than thousands of subscribers who rarely open your newsletter, read your articles, and respond to your offers. The loyal following you establish through consent marketing is 100 times more likely to get people interested in your service and product. Now, let's talk about the second technique, which is your blog newsletter. I mean, I have a newsletter. I put my blog on it, so I call it a blog newsletter. You can call it what you want, but the key is you're using it to obviously engage readers, to build loyalty, to sell readings and books, and advertise classes, and promote your offers. You can start writing a blog column, obviously, and mail it from your own personal email, or you can invest more money in an email marketing service like Constant Contact or MailChimp, where you can get good performance data to help you analyze the performance of your newsletter and promotional campaigns. I use Constant Contact. I like storing my list, tracking results, sending out newsletters. So, assuming that you do have your newsletter set up, let's talk about how to use it to help build the business. Um, you obviously have to write, articles of interest, and do promotions, special discounts, etc. The success tips I have found are writing one or two blog articles every month. I've gotten emails from people saying, "Oh, wow, thanks for telling me that because I thought maybe I had to write two or three or four." Well, you can, but uh, again, this I think is certainly sufficient unless you're doing kind of a daily horoscope thing or something special. Obviously, mark your calendar, pretend like you're writing for the New York Times, and the editor's giving you a deadline date for article submission. Make sure to track your open and click-through rates. Let me give you a personal target. Your open rate should be about 50% or higher. Your click-through rate, people, opening to actually read the offer, read the article, should be about 33%. So make sure you call your list at least once a month. My attitude is, hey, you sign up for my free article. If you're not reading it, then goodbye. So, I mean, we all work hard and most of us give free, offer free articles. So the least people can do is take the time to look at it. If they aren't, uh, there's no point in having them on a list. And by analyzing your services and product sales, you'll know which customers to contact for your other products. If, for example, if they bought your book, they might be interested in a reading, uh, or vice versa. The third technique is writing and publishing articles. And this centers around writing and getting your articles published. And it's not an easy task, but if you're committed to achieving it, it will help you grow your business rapidly. Obviously, published articles give you mass exposure to thousands and perhaps millions of people who can buy your services and products. And here's how to get your article published. One, research and put together a large list of newspapers and magazines. Two, contact each one of them. Three, send in an article for publication. Four, contact other blogs. Five, write a letter to the editor in response to an article. It takes work and making contact and submitting columns you've written, but it's worthwhile to find a local or national newspaper or periodical or online publication you can write for. And there are many publications, both online and hard copy, that are looking for articles to print. I mean, Astrology is very, very popular. The Harris poll that was done a few years ago showed that 31% of all Americans believe in astrology. You can see why it's so popular. Now, I write for a few publications. The biggest is the Huffington Post, and they're the second largest online publication circulation in the world. They have 40 million people all over the world visiting their publication every month. So obviously, I feel fortunate to be a featured contributor. So you need that kind of mass exposure of some sort. And the credibility that comes from writing a column is obviously very huge. People are always asking me, well, how did you get that opportunity? I want to say, well, I used to date Ariana Huffington. Uh, and while I've met her and talked with her, it's unlikely that we would double date on a Friday night. But the truth is, I submitted an article and they liked it. And I got the opportunity just sending in a blog article. They like my style of writing and that I've been a featured columnist for 3 years now. And you could do the same thing, but you have to be persistent and willing to start out by sending in articles to a bunch of places until one gives you the opportunity. That's how I began the Huffington Post. Now, I've kind of gone through the secrets here. I want to mention this to those of you that have faced what I faced, and that's the big R, all that rejection. Believe me, I got scores and scores and scores of people that rejected me before I got the opportunity. So strike the words "I'm discouraged" from your vocabulary. Being rejected is part of the process. Each rejection puts you one step closer to finding someone who wants to publish your article and have you write for them regularly. Don't be dissuaded from trying to publish your articles because it's difficult. It is difficult. The fourth technique I want to discuss is using Facebook. Now, I could do a whole separate webinar on how to use Facebook and my experiences. There's a lot to say. We all know that it's a very powerful social media that gives you a chance, gives a chance for people to know you, like you, and trust you. Your contacts on Facebook can bring you some business, but it's a very long-term investment that you should be prepared to take. And it can be very time-consuming with only moderate results. People on Facebook are so inundated with offers and people trying to sell them something that they aren't responsive. So unless your utility company will allow you to pay your electricity bill or your bank will allow you to pay your mortgage with likes, I, yeah, I encourage people to be a little mindful about how much time they spend on Facebook. But I have found, as long as you're respectful of the rules of each astrology Facebook group, it's a good place to gain visibility for your articles and posts. Great place to gather information and network with other astrologers to get ideas you can use to build your own astrology business. But the main purpose is really for Facebook to me are the ones I listed here. Okay. Now, the success tip I have for you for using Facebook is resist the temptation to spend too much time socializing, unless it's strictly for fun, because it can't be an addiction that takes valuable time that you could be better utilizing using other more productive marketing. Let's talk about Facebook advertising. Um, and let's see. Okay. Okay. So I want to talk to you about. Let me get this right. Okay. So sorry for going back and forth here, but I want to make sure that I. Okay. So in terms of positive and negatives, they're pretty clear. We know that the demographic world is extremely large for using Facebook. I like the fact that I can literally target 29 and 30-year-old people who are likely going through their Saturn return. Boy, that's really cool. And you can test for a low amount of money, $5, $10 for an ad or a boost. You can gather a lot of likes and you gain visibility. The negatives, as I mentioned, is that you definitely find people are not that responsive, and doing lots of small testing, $5, $10, $20 ads can be costly with moderate results. The questionable return on investment is my problem. I've spent $10 for every $1 of revenue that I've been able to create. So the success tip for using Facebook is they've got some great ad reps that will take you through advertising, how to do it, how to set it up, that can teach you the business. And I would definitely rely on them. It's good to test small ads, commit a budget, see if it works for you. Um, uh, and of course, be aware of the fact that Facebook does have their own analytics that you can use to see how well your ad is doing, how many people are looking, and how many people have responded to your ad. But again, you have to make sure that you are calculating the ad cost versus the revenues earned. Um, um, as I say, I haven't cracked the code in terms of Facebook ads, and so I use it kind of sparingly. The next technique is using Google. Now, there are really two good ways to use Google Analytics, which will help you measure performance on your website or when you use Google AdWords, and of course, Google AdWords themselves. Let's talk about Google Analytics first. Um, uh, I recommend making sure that you do have this set up and connected to your website. They can give you specific codes that will allow you to put them on your web pages so you can, you can see how your promotions are doing, how many people are looking at it, where they're coming from, what city, etc. It's valuable information that you can use. In addition, I actually install Google tracking codes on my um, articles and web pages and where they go. So I could basically write an article, post it an article that's in the Huffington Post, and then I post it in Facebook and give somebody an opportunity to buy my book. So the codes allow me, believe it or not, to see exactly that person saw my article in Facebook, clicked to the Huffington Post, and that's where they bought the book. Um, so let's talk about advertising on Google AdWords. And I've done a lot of testing with display ads on Google AdWords as well and spent a few $1,000s advertising there. And just like I said on Facebook, I have not had much better success. My ad dollars performed a little better on AdWords than Facebook. I ended up spending about $7 for every dollar I created. So I'm including it as a marketing technique for you because you may have an ad or an offering that is very successful, and you should test it because there are people who are very successful selling their services and products. It obviously offers you on the positives a chance to target your audience very closely. You get in front of just millions of people. It's amazing how many people will actually supposedly see your ad. And they also give you a chance to advertise for $5, $10. So it's very low cost rates. So the cost per click can be extremely low. The negatives, as I say, that there's the responsiveness is not there the way I would have liked, and it can be costly to do lots of different ads with moderate results. And as I said, the return on investment I got wasn't too good. So the success tips and using AdWord is definitely to run lots of test ads, check the performance through analytics, and then calculate the ad costs versus revenues earned. I've actually had lots of email from past attendees of this webinar who said, look, not only was the webinar really helpful to me, but I've saved hundreds of dollars. One person said thousands because I was thinking of really spending a lot of money running ads on Facebook and Google. So it's good to do your research to make sure that it really is a viable marketing technique for you to promote your services or products. The sixth technique is really one of the very best ones, and that is to rapidly build your astrology consulting business, sell books and classes by presenting lectures. Now, if you can sit in front of a client or talk on the telephone to a client and discuss their chart, congratulations, you can be a public speaker. It's no more complicated than Googling organizations, finding organizations where you can speak, calling the program chairperson, and submitting topics you'll speak on. I delivered a talk in front of a Rotary Club last year. Lots of kind of uptight business people, professionals, but I talked about my top 10 mundane forecast. I love this marketing technique because it's more within your control than other techniques that are less sure, like advertising. And if you're not a speaker, you obviously can get help by joining Toastmasters or the National Speakers Association. I recommend that you write 3 speeches that you could actually give as talks so that you know and the organization you call knows you've got something to talk about. And then create a list of organizations that you're able to literally speak at, and then contact one a week. The key is, again, committing to, let me put this back up, is committing to finding public speaking opportunities. I mean, again, these techniques are really not very helpful to you if you are not proactive and initiating. So let's move on to the 7th technique, which is networking. Now, networking at business and professional and social groups is one of your most important marketing techniques because there's a treasure trove of opportunity that can come from the time you take to network with others. Um, you can, obviously meet other astrologers, exchange information and ideas, pass out your new cards to new clients. I know a lot of you think, oh, well, I already do that. Well, do you really? I put this particular slide here just to really make a point. Years ago, you may have seen a movie from called Crocodile Dundee. The main character was Paul Hogan. He comes from Australia. He goes to New York, the big city, and he walks down the street and he sees a couple thugs who accost him, and the one in the red shirt has a small little knife and tries to rob him. And Paul pulls out his knife and says, "You call that a knife? Here's a knife." So I'm saying to you, do you really network? I mean, networking, as far as I'm concerned, is looking at your calendar, perusing the San Francisco Chamber of Commerce, for me at least, and maybe 6 or 7 other organizations, and filling in at least one networking event a week that I will be present at. That's networking. Okay, here's how you really use networking to your advantage. You use these meetings to do market research. I have a list of questions I'm going to ask people I meet, astrologers, especially if I go to an astrologer networking event, and I want to find out how they market. I want to find out what services and products they're selling. I mean, I'm doing a reconnaissance. I'm getting intel. And I often discuss joint collaborations with other astrologers. I found one at an event who specialized in astrocartography. I don't do that. It's not something that's especially for me, but yet I have a number of clients who are moving and want that kind of help. I told him I would be happy to send him clients. And he said to me, "Look, I don't really do much in the way of transit and progression readings. I'd be happy to refer them to you." So again, that's the way you use it. Let's talk about marketing versus advertising. I mean, you have to be asking yourself which is more effective for selling astrology services. Um, and I have to tell you, I've spent thousands of dollars on advertising and marketing that doesn't produce results. And based on my years of and experience testing ads in periodicals and social media like Facebook, like Google, like Yelp, I come to the conclusion that advertising astrology services is not cost effective for me. The right mailing list may result um, in a cost, but and it may make sense. And advertising can make sense if you have an astrology book or maybe software. But when it comes to selling personal services like readings, consultations, and your classes, the most powerful form of advertising for your business is reputation, word of mouth, and referral. Clients are your best salespeople. And this is why I've devoted so much time to talking to you about turning your clients into referral sources. Now, I want to talk to you now in this section of the webinar about special marketing tips and ideas that you can incorporate into the 7 techniques that I've discussed. Let me again assure you, I've had my own share of failures and made a lot of costly mistakes, but learned a lot. And fortunately, I've been blessed with many successes. So please allow me to share some special tips and ideas that I put together for this webinar that will really help you better utilize the 7 techniques we've discussed. Now, I want to begin by saying, be careful of advice you get from marketing consultants. Of course, there are many who are experienced, successful, know their stuff, but then there are many marketing consultants out there who are acolytes and followers of big name marketing gurus. Many of them will try to sell you on advice and techniques that may have worked for a big name personality or nationally recognized internet marketer, but are unlikely to work for you. And the reason why is that a well established personality or celebrity consultant, whether it's Tony Robbins or Susan Miller, has spent years and years in the public eye building the reputation, celebrity, and promoting themselves and their brand. Just taking a marketing technique they've used successfully doesn't mean that if you do the same thing, it will translate into any success for you. Um, and I use this slide to make this point. You have a young college baseball player, and then on the right you have uh, Babe Ruth. I mean, think about it. Even great baseball players in college don't step into the major leagues. They first go to the minor leagues, then when they establish themselves, they gain experience, they show their talent, they become a major leaguer. In the same way, well-established professionals such as Tony Robbins did not become a national success right away. It took him years, and eventually he became the success he is. So there are many consultants who will preach to you that you should hire them to teach you these techniques just because they were used by people like Tony Robbins. My point: remember, you may need some seasoning just like a minor leaguer before you try major league techniques. That's the point. And that's why I focus on these 7 techniques I've discussed, because they're basic core techniques that you can utilize. Now, many of these consultants, as I say, will offer great sounding advice that doesn't work, especially some of the suggestions on how to market your services through social media. So here are 7 marketing ideas I want to discuss the merits of with you. And let's take a look at each of them and evaluate which ones might help you grow your business and which ones won't. So, true or false? To sell your services and products, people need to get to know you, like you, and trust you. Then, eventually, one day, they'll buy from you. Now, there's great truth in that statement, but the key is the amount of time, money, and effort you have to spend in order to get potential buyers to know you, like you, and trust you in order to buy from you. So, my answer is false. You risk paralyzing your efforts to be an aggressive marketer if you adopt this kind of mindset. I mean, it reminds me of the characters in the Samuel Beckett play, Waiting for Godot. You might be waiting a very long time for people to finally buy from you. My experience is that many marketing consultants advocate investing a ridiculous amount of time and energy building trust before you ask for the order. I had one consultant tell me that I needed to constantly write articles and post them regularly, and then one day magically I'd be trusted and the person would buy from me. Do you know how much time it takes to do all that? I mean, that's giving up all your power and control to these phantom customers who will one day leave money at your door. So to me, that's nonsense, and it's not what the aggressive marketer does. That approach might work for a well-established personality who's built his business over years and is very famous and spent a great deal of money in self-promotion, someone like Tony Robbins. But that approach does not work for the typical astrologer known in a local market. That's nothing more than passive marketing that pays small dividends. So to get your prospects to know you, like you, and trust you, it's enough to rely on an article that speaks volumes about you and what you can do for them. Or offer a 15-minute phone conversation with them, but don't waste your more time and effort than that. Um, Here's a marketing idea number 2: true or false? To get people to buy from you, first give them something for free. Um, Generally speaking, I say false. Now, of course, there are exceptions we'll talk about. I mean, we astrologers tend to be among the most generous professionals on the planet in terms of giving our services for free to others. So I want to discuss this in greater detail. And I don't want to reject any marketing idea dogmatically without giving you the pros and cons. And this will help you make your own decision as to which ideas and techniques makes the most sense for your business. There are products and services where it makes sense to give something for free in order to get your prospect to pay for your offering. For example, selling an expensive timeshare for a property in the Bahamas, or selling an expensive training program that costs $2,500 or $5,000. But as an astrologer, I would think twice about giving people a free version of your services in the hopes that by doing so, they'll end up paying you lots of money for an expanded version of it. Personally, from my own background, I remember all the free astrology readings I gave when I was in my 20s and 30s to people who didn't want to pay for my reading. Instead, they asked me to do a free reading, assuring me that once they experienced how good I was as an astrologer, they would refer me to their many friends. I'd get rave reviews, but rarely did I get a referral. I had wasted my time and given away my craft for free. Now I tell people I don't do free readings. I tell them my astrology craft is my livelihood. I mean, think about it. Your doctor doesn't offer you a free medical checkup. Your accountant doesn't say, "Hey, can I do your taxes for 2015 for free?" And your attorney certainly doesn't say, "Look, let me file that lawsuit for you because you're really a nice person and I don't mind not charging anything." So my experience is that people tend not to place a great deal of value in what they get for free, and they don't have a lot of loyalty to the person who gave it to them for free. So you have to realize that there's an amazing amount of free stuff already available. The internet is filled with people trolling around for free stuff. So my own belief is if the milk is free, why buy the cow? so, so before you decide to promote your services or product, I urge you to do a careful evaluation of whether it makes sense to offer it for free in the hopes that it will lead to a much higher ticket sale from your prospect. For example, let's consider the marketing practice of offering a free class or free webinar with the idea that your free webinar will motivate attendees to buy your service in the future. So before you offer a free event, consider the kind of prospects you're likely to offer, likely to draw. I mean, will they be make-believe prospects like Willy Wonka? Or will they really be people who will buy? The quality of attendee is different when it's free versus paid. Free attendees are curious about what they may learn, but often they attend with no intention of spending any money. And that's why they're called looky-loos. Sure, they're enthusiastic, but are they real buyers? I mean, a looky-loos is someone who attends events out of curiosity with little intention of buying. Paid attendees are serious and have an expectation they'll learn something of value since they've spent money to attend, just like you today. Now, free attendees are interested in what they might learn, but they can be skeptical because they know the reason why the event is free is because the real purpose is to sell them something they'll have to pay for. Now, understand that once you give your potential buyer something for free, a lot of the time that buyer feels satisfied that he got what he needed. And many of these prospects will no longer think they need to pay you for what you've already given them for free. So to me, it's a risky gamble trying to turn free into paid. Another downside to free offerings such as free webinars is that you've created a long selling cycle because you have to first promote the free event, which can then lead to promoting the paid event. And that results in your expending a great deal of energy and money for what may be very low financial return. And as I said, free events are better used when you're selling a big ticket item that will net you thousands of dollars. But for smaller ticket promotions of your services, your readings, your products, I would encourage you to shorten your sales cycle and come up with an event such as a class or webinar that has enough valuable content that your target audience is willing to pay for it without getting a free sample. But let's talk about, is free right for you? The word free is a very powerful advertising word still, and it can be effective. So please understand, I'm not saying that this approach doesn't work. It can work, especially for individuals and companies that have spent a great deal of time and money promoting, advertising, and building their brand. But ask yourself, is that you? How much money do you spend every year in advertising, public relations, and media appearances? I mean, my experience is that there's such a low return on time and money invested by giving away anything for free that you're better off building enough value for the service so people want to pay for it for the get-go. So while free offerings might be appropriate for well-established personalities like Tony Robbins and Susan Miller, to me it has a very low payoff for the typical astrologer who is far less well known. Now, marketing idea three is, well, when is free an effective way of stimulating business? Well, the answer is when it's appropriate to your business size and your budget. In other words, can you afford to invest the time and money it may take for a free offering or free event to evolve into revenues? Giving something for free is a great idea when it can turn into a cash sale in a short period of time and when it can quantifiably be measured to a targeted source. So those are my three criteria: pay in a short period of time, be quantifiably measured, and can be tracked to a targeted source. For example, I gave a free talk on astrology to this Rotary Club in front of an audience of 50, 60 people. I sold 15 books, and I had 8 people book a reading with me. That event brought me almost $2,000, and those 8 people have referred friends to me. So that's when free is a profitable strategy. So um, I say, they make sense when you're writing an article that can feature your book, when you're giving somebody a 15-minute consult to see if you can really help them and impress them about you as an astrologer, or a free talk where you can sell your books and your classes and your readings to the audience that's there. Marketing idea number 4. And I want to discuss marketing idea 4 and 5 together because they're birds of a feather. Cross selling and upselling. They're synergistically tied together. Now, of course, cross selling is the marketing practice of selling multiple products to customers who've previously bought a product from you. It's why at the beginning of the webinar, I raised the question: what other services and products can you offer your clients and potential new clients? So perhaps it's time to develop a greater proficiency in another area of astrology so that you can offer another service to your clients. I had one astrology client who never did chart comparisons for clients. She didn't feel she had the expertise. Yet her clients liked her other services so much they kept on asking her if she could do them. She said no. I encouraged her to take some classes and develop this expertise so she could offer, this new service to her client base. In her first year promoting this service, she did 20 chart comparisons for clients and made an additional $4,000 that she never would have made. So perhaps it's time to teach the class you've wanted to teach or write the book you've got inside of you that wants to come out. If you don't know how to teach, maybe you need to find someone who can show you how to teach a class. If you don't know how to write a book, publish it, become an author, maybe you need to find someone who does that and can coach you. By the way, these are the projects I do in my one consulting and my astrologer's marketing workshop. So there's no shame in obviously needing help. But these are the things you do to rapidly grow your business and sell multiple services. Marketing 5 idea is upselling. Now, of course, this is the practice of selling a more expensive product to customers who've purchased a less expensive product from you. Well, when do you use it? It works best, obviously, when you have a large menu of services and products to promote to buyers who bought from you before, because you can obviously take your book buyers and sell them more expensive reading. You can use upselling and take your consulting clients and sell them a class or a webinar. One astrology client had a large number of people she did readings for, and they told her, many of them said, boy, astrology is kind of neat. I would love to do like a basic astrology class. Do you teach classes? She said no. I explained to her that was a huge opportunity. And I showed her how to put together a 6-week class for $195 for the 6-week class and showed her how to market it. She ended up attracting 24 students just from her client base and made almost $5,000 teaching that class. You can do the same thing if you aren't already. Okay. So let's talk about selling your buyers other services. You can see how the techniques we've discussed are tied in together because you need to develop your customer base. You need to analyze who's buying and what services and products you can sell them. My analysis of who is interested in my newsletter, articles, and books and readings helps me to know what additional services I can offer them. And as I said, I offer those who sign up for my articles an opportunity to buy my book. I offer those who buy my book a chance to do a reading at a special discount. Remember, it's easier to sell um, clients who know you more things than it is to find new clients. So, you really have to, figure out how can you squeeze more juice from the lemon, because lemons are expensive and your customers are lemons. And I mean that in a good way. Okay, so marketing idea number 6. Don't assume that marketing consultants know more than you. And by the way, here's my favorite definition of a marketing consultant. A marketing consultant is someone who knows 255 ways to make love, but doesn't know any women. Now, I'm having fun with you. And of course, there are a lot of good consultants out there. And by the way, if I've offended anyone by that joke, please keep it to yourself. But don't accept their advice on how to promote your business just because they've studied the marketing practices of other well-known marketers. Make sure that you really take time to understand that they take time to understand your business and your service and your product mix and customers before they tell you how they can help you with marketing. In fact, let me tell you a good marketing story to illustrate two key points: how well-meaning consultants who don't understand astrology or its customers can lead you astray, and how important proper pricing is to successfully sell your services and products. Okay, so here's my story. I decided to market a new astrology report like the one on this slide. It's not this one, but one like it. I went to some very well-known marketing consultants to get their advice, on pricing. They came up with what they thought was a brilliant strategy. They said, "Hey, market the report at a low price, like an app." They said, apps sell for 99 cents, 199. I mean, everybody's buying them. Their logic was that people buy millions of them at that price, and no one would think twice about spending $1.99 for an interesting horoscope report like I had written. And they said I could make a lot of money selling hundreds and maybe thousands of them at the low price of 199. So in essence, I would make up, um, you know, for the low price by having a high volume of reports sold. In my first month, I sold 300 reports and I made $600. Now, I'm sure there's maybe some of you that are saying, wow, 300 reports sold. Wow, Larry, that's not bad. But, I kept on thinking about this pricing strategy and it just didn't seem right. I mean, intuitively and as a marketer, I just thought this price is not right. So I contacted a handful of my astrology colleagues and showed them a copy of the report and discussed the pricing strategy that these consultants came up with and their marketing logic. In short, we all agreed that the report had far greater value than $1.99. And as we discussed my marketing problem, I realized that at first, the keep the price low and get a high number of buyers sounded like a great marketing strategy. But once an astrology colleague said, "Larry, I wonder if the quality of this about the qual I'd wonder about the quality of the report if it was only $1.99." The light bulb went on for me, and I realized that the low price was totally wrong because it diminished the value of the quality of the report. After all, how could a $1.99 report be? Two, it made buyers skeptical, thinking that if the report was that cheap, it was probably because I was trying to sell them something else. In short, the first 300 buyers of that report were a bunch of looky-loos that thought, what the hell, for $1.99, why not buy it? But I turned off more serious buyers who would have paid more. So I remarketed that same report for $14.99, and in 3 weeks sold 150 reports and made over $2,000. So we could do a whole webinar on pricing of astrology services and products, but for now, you can see the impact of proper pricing. And my concern with most astrologers is that they don't understand anything about astrology and aren't always interested in basic information about it that they should have. So remember, sometimes polling a group of friends who understand astrology can give you better marketing feedback than individuals who know nothing about it. It's important to research and use credible sources. Spend a little, I beg your pardon, spend a little and test a lot. Don't assume that if something didn't work for someone else, it won't work for you or vice versa. And make sure to pay attention to the source of the advice you get. Here's a conversation I heard between two people. "Oh, I heard there's this really great marketing idea that's going to help you sell lots of books. And I know it works because my friend Mary has an astrologer friend in Seattle, and he used it, and he sold 1,000 books in his first 3 months." Now, let me ask you, how scientific is that intel, that research? It's nothing more than an anecdotal story that may be true, partially true or not true at all. That's how bad and costly marketing mistakes are born. So I encourage you to research marketing ideas on the internet, as well as talk with successful professionals who've used them so you get a first person experience. The key to use reliable marketing ideas and techniques that are proven is to invest the time and money trying um, to really make sure that you let me say this again. The key to use reliable marketing ideas and techniques that are proven is in researching them before you invest your time and money. Um, and I've saved lots of money by doing that. And as I say, I've gotten lots of emails from people who've done the same thing, especially after hearing me say this at the webinar. Marketing idea number 7. Uh, Build your business on multiple marketing techniques. Don't focus on trying to find one marketing technique that will bring you lots of clients. Your ability to rapidly build your astrology practice is predicated on having multiple marketing channels that will bring you new clients, sell your readings, your books, your classes, and software and other consulting services. And just like octopus, you need multiple marketing tentacles. Um, Success is having 4 or 5 of them. Um, I have Yelp, I use Facebook, I use HuffPost referrals, regular promotions, birthday referrals, everything that I've mentioned to you to really create success. So I want to encourage you all not to be intimidated by what you don't know, that there really is a process to be successful in using marketing techniques, whether you don't know them or whether you think you're pretty good at them. And that's to get even more familiar. When I see all the changes in social media, advertising, and marketing, I'm humbled by all that I don't know. So the key is to go through this process of mastery that begins with all marketing techniques, forcing you to do the research to get more familiar, talk to other people to get more confident, you get more experience, and this is where you really achieve greater mastery and success. I want to summarize what we've talked about in this webinar. Um, First of all, change your prosperity mindset. It's okay to make money and maybe even a lot of money. You should be paid well for what you do and all the years it's taken you to learn your craft. Remember, you are running a business, whether it's part-time or full-time. You do need a business plan. Um, and also, you really need to make a commitment to become an even more aggressive marketer than you currently are. And then synergistically, try to use all these techniques, see which ones work the best for you. Before we end this webinar, I want to mention some housekeeping and last details. If you want to learn even more advanced marketing skills and how to use astrology marketing to motivate buyers, you might find a lot of value in my next webinar, uh, which is how to successfully market to 8 customer groups who want to be your clients. Come to this webinar. I'll show you how to reach these customer groups. Um, Check your schedules to make sure you're available for the live presentation on April 18th. Because of the limitations of my online webinar service, I'll have a limited enrollment for this webinar. So I'm giving you who've attended here a first opportunity to enroll. I put the link up there. You'll be able to take advantage of the early bird registration fee. Um, and if you sign up now and your schedule changes, you're not able to attend, I'll be happy to send you a recording of the presentation once it's over, so don't worry about that. Um, Again, with regard to the recording, I will email you the link next week for you to be able to listen to this recording again. If you have any questions, please feel free to email me at larry@astrodecision.com. You can certainly call me. Just remember, I'm in San Francisco, so I'm in the Pacific time zone. And also, I want to mention to you that today there's just so many experts offering advice for free, and you can you can research and do all that. But I think the secret to building one's business is not just in getting information. The secret is being mentored by an expert who can hold your hand and work closely with you to show you how to apply and implement marketing techniques like the ones we've discussed to grow your business. So if you're the type of person who really needs one-on-one coaching, um, well, I'm very happy to offer you a free opportunity to have a kind of a consulting session. I offer also an astrologer's marketing workshop where we work on coming up with a marketing plan, coming up with advertising plans, writing books, um, uh, doing the things that you do to grow your business. So I came up with the idea to offer all of you have attended a strategy call where we can spend a half hour talking about your business, how to grow it, and seeing if it's something that would make sense for you. There's no obligation to you or me. There's no strings attached. It's a good chance for us to get to know each other a little bit as colleagues. So if you're interested, please call me or email me. Now, to conclude the webinar, I want to thank you all for attending, and I want to ask you when the webinar is closed, which it will be in the next few seconds, you'll see a survey come on the screen. I would really be in your debt if you take a moment out to fill it out and let me know how you enjoyed this webinar. Again, thank you so much for attending. I hope to see you and hear from you again, and thank you. Bye-bye. Good luck.